Hello there, and welcome back to Chiquita Nicole Speaks. My name is Chiquita Nicole Edwards, and this podcast is where I uplift and empower women to be the best versions of themselves by providing tips and tricks for them to use in their day-to-day lives. Today, we will discuss how to obtain more time by turning productivity to profitability. And I have a special guest with me today who believes that small business owners can make time for their personal lives and still make money with their thriving business. Nancy Abramson graduated with accounting and finance degrees from Northeastern University and has over 30 years of business experience. As a success coach, Nancy helps busy entrepreneurs do the right things so they feel accomplished, in control, and happy in their personal and business lives. She believes that coaches are not just for achievement in athletics. Nancy also believes that you can choose to do it yourself, or you can partner with her to achieve profound and lasting results. She understands that our most significant obstacles. Nancy can help you get out of your own way and reach the clarity, focus, and freedom to get the extraordinary life you desire. She is a collaborative partner, a mentor, and an accountability partner who can help anyone achieve new levels of satisfaction and fulfillment. Let's all formally meet Nancy. Hey, Nancy!
Hello. Thank you so much, Chiquita, for that wonderful introduction and for having me here today.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm excited to be here, and today I'm going to teach you about getting more time with productivity to profitability. I usually teach this in a workshop format, and we're able to go really deep into this. And because of the limited time, we're going to hit the highlights, and I promise you will get lots of value from this, and you will find, and if you find that you want more, I do have a mini class coming up on this, and I'm going to provide you with the details later. But let's get started.
Yes, let's do it.
How many of you did everything you planned to do last year? If you didn't raise your hand, don't worry. Science says 92% of people don't achieve their goals. The other 8% maybe achieve some of their goals or won't admit to being in the other 92%. So how does an entrepreneur measure productivity? How does he or she know if they're being productive? How about profits? Isn't that what they say is the bottom line? So how many of you feel like you're too busy? Do you often say, I'm so busy, I'm too busy, or I don't have enough time? There is a huge difference between being very busy and being productive. Being busy will keep you broke, while being productive will bring you profits. And I assert that the missing piece is planning. Most of the time, people are there working hard every day and being so busy and like throwing spaghetti against the wall and hoping it will stick, hope that at the end of the year they will have made a profit. I am Nancy Abramson, and I am a success coach. And I will show you how to go from productivity to profitability. I help small business owners make more money in less time so they feel happy, accomplished, and thrilled about their personal and business lives. As Chiquita mentioned, I have over 30 years of business experience. As a CPA, I audited companies, prepared financial statements and income tax returns. As a CFO, I played a key role in selling a financial company to a publicly traded London firm for millions of dollars. I've worked for large, mid-size, and small companies, as well as starting my own. And why do I care about this? I care because for many years, I lived unfulfilled, going through the motions, and just getting through my day. And life was going to be great later. My alarm would go off, and I'd hit snooze a few times, and I'd have to drag myself to the office. Don't get me wrong, I was really good at what I did. I just didn't love it anymore. And I was living for my vacation, and I'm living to retire and have the great life later. Can anyone relate to me? I was on vacation in Hawaii several years ago, and I had a revelation that I was not thinking about work. I was relaxed, and I was enjoying the moments as they were happening. And that was a new experience for me, and it felt amazing. And I want people to live lit up, happy lives, and living lives that they're excited about now, not sometime later. I was the poster child for, you've got to get good grades in school, so you can go to a good college, so you can get a good job, so you can work really hard, and then live your great life later. I did what I was told to do and what needed to be done, and I didn't question it. I was controlled by my calendar and everybody else's desires, working until 10 o'clock every night. You can see that I was very busy, but I wasn't productive. And because I said yes to everybody else's desires, I was there until 10 o'clock every night, being busy and not getting the most important things done. I was working so much that I needed 3 20-ounce cups of coffee every day just to get through my day. Got one in the morning to get me started. On my way back from lunch, I got another one, and the afternoon slump would hit, and I'd get another one to get me through the late day. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my coffee, but I drank so much of it for so long that my body finally decided enough, and I broke out in hives all over. It was worse than when I had chicken pox as a child, and it was so awful. I was so stressed without realizing how stressed I was. How many of you feel like you can't take a vacation or time off without feeling guilty about the work needing to be done? How many of you feel that there isn't enough time in the day? Do you have to-do items that roll over day to day? So would you like to release that busyness and be more productive? So the holiday season is almost upon us, and I would love to help you have it all without the overwhelm. So would it be okay if I show you how I took control over my calendar, became more peaceful and fulfilled, and now I teach my clients to have that as well? It all begins with my 3 P's of planning. Are you ready? Power, prioritize, and profits. Power. Exercise your power to say no to distractions and things that don't move you towards your goal. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you're the one that should do it. For example, after helping that company get sold, I told a friend that I would help her with her growing jewelry business. She taught me the skills I needed, and the very first pair of earrings I made, somebody bought off of my head. This was so exciting. So I started working with her, and I was making money while having so much fun. And I hired a photographer to take pictures of my designs so that I can have marketing materials. And as my designs developed, I wanted pictures of the new designs. So I also have a passion for photography. So I thought, why do I need to hire him? I could do it myself. And I did it. I recreated his studio in my 1-bedroom apartment in New York City, and it took me 2 days to replicate what he did in a few hours. 2 days that could have been spent doing revenue-producing activities. I did it, but should I have been the one to do it? Just because somebody asks you to do something doesn't mean you have to be the one to do it. The key is to acknowledge the request, look and see if it will forward you towards your goal, and if not, respectfully decline, make a counter proposal, or delegate it to somebody else. But it is critical to manage the expectations. So it's now October 2020, and we've all been physically distancing and told to stay home, and we have new challenges that we've been dealing with. We're working from home, or maybe not working the jobs that we were working prior to COVID, and we have new opportunities, and now we're dealing with different distractions, like children that might still be homeschooling, spouses that might be working from home that aren't used to be working from home. Does anybody have any additional distractions and busyness from all of that. With all this extra time that I had at home, because now I'm home all the time, I'm not running around from place to place. So I have all this extra time, and I felt like all of a sudden I didn't have enough time, and I was like frantic because I had so much to do, and how could I get it all done? Until I took a breath, I reminded myself of the 3 Ps, took my own coaching, and got control back over my calendar. So the second P is prioritize. Are you doing what's most important, or avoiding the sales calls to work on your website? Again, or maybe it's Netflix that's calling to you. Plan the work and work the plan according to what's most important to you. I work with my clients to create a simple plan with realistic goals so that they can have power and freedom with their calendar. How many of you schedule time for planning in your calendar? Do you plan your time realistically? My third P is profits. Do you plan for profits? Do you have a budget? With a budget, you can see that if all goes as expected, will you have money left over after you've paid all your expenses? With a customized plan, I help my clients make more money. I will help you grow your business by knowing your numbers. Many people are uncomfortable with budgets, but when I work with my clients, I make it easy for them and show them that it's not scary. I love this quote from John Maxwell. A budget is people telling their money where to go instead of wondering where it went. And I retweet that with a plan is people telling their time where to go instead of wondering where it went. I used to be the assistant director of finance for a nonprofit that granted almost $500,000 a year. And I worked until about 9 or 10 o'clock most nights, and I just couldn't catch up. Until one Friday morning, my adorable kitten, who loved to go into the tub after I took a shower, jumped to the sink and with his wet paws started slipping. And I did one of those crazy moves to try to catch him. It was total instinct. He would have landed on his feet. He would have been fine. And I think I herniated a disc in my neck by doing that crazy twist. And a week later, it got worse when I was volunteering at the Games for the Physically Challenged, and a piece of the disc broke off. And now I have constant pins and needles going down my right arm. And of course, I'm right-handed, so I couldn't write or use the mouse. That was a huge problem. I couldn't turn my head or look to the side or look up. So I had surgery to take that piece out. And as you can see, everything is great. And the lesson that I learned when I came back after 6 weeks of disability was all of those projects that absolutely had to be done immediately were still there waiting for me when I came back. So I learned how to say no, manage others' expectations, leave work by 6 o'clock every night, or most nights, and nobody was upset with me. What I really learned was how to apply my 3 Ps of planning and moved away from the busyness and became more productive. This doesn't just work for me, it works for my clients also. I had one particular client who was feeling so overwhelmed by his calendar. And it was a combination of things that were work, things that were personal, things that other people wanted him to do that he didn't really want to do at all. And it made him feel so busy and overwhelmed and feeling like he didn't have enough time. So he started canceling on all kinds of commitments, feeling upset and making himself wrong for canceling. So I made him stop. I worked with him to apply my tools to handle the distractions. And he came back to me 2 days later after applying this work that I'm teaching you now, so very excited, feeling free, and he was able to have more quality time for everything that mattered to him. He had more quality time for his family. He was able to make more money because he was getting more work done. He also had time to go out on his dates. He had time to work out, which was stressing him out because he started to feel that he didn't have time to go to the gym. So he was free. He got free of the overwhelm, free of the busyness feeling, and was so excited. So would you like to learn more about working to release some of this busyness with me would look like? So my first tip for you is schedule everything in your calendar. I hate to break it to you, but you have 24 hours in a day, the same 24 hours that everybody else does. Nobody's figured out a way to change that yet. So you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. And it's like a jigsaw puzzle. You have that border, and all the pieces have to fit inside that container. Now you get to choose how are you filling your days. Include time for sleep. If working out is important to you, put that in your calendar and honor the commitment to yourself. Be realistic about the time also. If you need time to set up anything before a meeting, or if you plan to shower after your workout, include time for that in the time you blocked off. Include that in the calendar. If meditation is important to you, schedule it. Date nights, schedule them. Family time, schedule it. When you're running behind and overwhelmed, self-care and family time are the first things that get canceled or limited or cut out. And they're really important. I have another tip for you. So I worked with a couple of clients that often felt overwhelmed because they planned their days and always had unexpected fires and unexpected things pop up that disrupted their plans. This left them feeling upset and overwhelmed and angry. If you're like them and you often experience this, then I recommend blocking out time for the unexpected thing. So you're expecting it even when you don't know what it is going to look like, but when the unexpected pops up, you have a space for it and you have the capacity to handle it without the upset and without it throwing apart your whole entire day. Since we have a little bit more time, I'm going to give you one more tip. Something you can implement right away. Make a list of everything you want or need to get done. Write it all down, get it all out of your head and down onto a piece of paper. Now look at the things that you have on the list. All those things that have to be done, schedule them. Schedule them in your calendar, make it an appointment, and honor it as if it was a commitment to somebody else. If something comes up that you need to address, reschedule the appointment. Pick the top 3 priorities or top 3 projects and focus on them. Focus on completing them. Avoid the shiny objects. Nothing else gets done until you get the 3 things that you say are the most important things done. And we all have these things that are on our to-do list that don't really have to be done, if you're being honest with yourself. But it would be really nice to be done. You kind of want it to be done. Put those on a separate list. It's like put it in a parking lot. My friend said that once, and I love that. So your brain knows that you've got it considered, and it's kind of handled, even though it's not completed. And you put it aside so you're not worrying about it. And then when you have the extra time, you can pull out the list and start knocking off some of those things. But they're not critical to be done, so stop worrying about it and take the weight off of your shoulder. Because each person is different, I like to create a personalized approach with my clients. I don't believe in a one-size-fits-all. And this starts with hopping on a call with me and finding out where being busy has kept you stuck and figuring out the best approach to take you from being too busy to productive and more profitable using my 3 Ps of planning and other tools that I didn't have time to share today. So I work with entrepreneurs normally one-on-one as well as in my groups. My VIP coaching is customized for the individual and determined based on what you want to accomplish during the discovery session. Sometimes it's on the personal side, sometimes it's on the business side, and it's usually a combination of both. Because I love working with entrepreneurs and having them have both lives that are working that they're thrilled with. And as I mentioned, I do have an upcoming mini class that I just created for this that's a little bit smaller than my workshop. And it's on October 22nd. I'm going to have Chiquita's going to put the details in the description in the comment box below. And I do believe that this is also going to air after that. So I have another one scheduled for November if you're unable to make the October date, or if you're watching this after the original airing. And normally this workshop is a 3-hour in-person workshop that I normally do for $147. And because this is new and it's a mini class, it's only 1 hour on Zoom. We will get so much done, and it's a special price of only $27. And we will have the link in the comment as well. If you have any questions about this or questions about what it would be like to work with me, hop on a call. You can schedule it. There's a link, and my contact information will be in the comments. But I want to thank you for your time, for allowing me to be here, for your generous listening. And I wish you and your families well, and hope you stay safe and healthy and have both a personal and business life that you are thrilled about.
Yes, this was so amazing, Nancy. The thing that I love the most whenever I speak to my listeners or just anyone in my personal life, I always tell them how important setting boundaries are. And a lot of what you talked about was basically on setting boundaries, and it's just so amazing. Like, I love how you mentioned the calendar, just everything you talked about, because I've had people look at me and say, oh my gosh, you put everything in your calendar, and oh, you're so structured, and you don't have to plan everything. And I'm like, well, I really do, because when you know that you're a busy person and you're an entrepreneur like you and I are, you need to do that, because if you don't, you won't have time for yourself, and you can't, like you said, carve out the moments for your family and for your loved ones. You won't have that there. So this was absolutely amazing. It's right on point with the things that I push as far as things that are important and profitable and worth doing. And like you say, you just got to do it, right?
I love it. When we first had our conversation, I knew you were like my sister from another mother. I
know, right?
But and I know people have laughed at me too and said, I don't need to schedule everything. And even when the client that I worked with, when I said schedule the time for the gym, schedule the time for every little thing, he thought it was ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But if you are really honest with yourself, when you don't schedule the stuff and you don't schedule everything, or you don't schedule it realistically, like when I did my networking events in person, how many times people would put, and I did this in the beginning, you put the meeting time as your appointment on the calendar without taking into consideration that I got to drive there.
Yes.
To the commuting to the next place. So you don't include that, and then you might underestimate, or you might forget, and then you book something else too close, and then your whole day starts shifting and slipping. And then that's when I was saying that at the end of the day, your day ended later than expected because everything started to run late, and either the things you wanted to do for yourself, I guess I don't have time for that, or I'm too tired, or I don't have time to do the thing with the kids, or I don't have time to play with them, or I don't have time for, like, the family and yourself are the things that get sacrificed. And those are the things that are usually the most important to you.
Exactly.
So I agree. Schedule it all, and then you have a plan for it all, and that's how you make it work.
And I also think that causes a lot less stress too, because like you said, when you don't account for that time that it does the traveling, you use a calendar scheduler like I do, where you allow other people to schedule appointments with you. If you don't time that properly, you will end up being out at an appointment and having to sit in your car and do a Zoom call because you're not going to make it back home in time. I know because I've done it before. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even count the travel time. Yeah, it's like I didn't even account for travel time, so I got to sit in my car and do this before I leave, and then you're flustered, and then you don't have to worry about letting people down, canceling, saying, oh, I can't do this, because for me, I need to have it and you won't forget. I've had so many clients who are not very organized, and I will schedule something with. I have a business partner like this already, and I'm trying to teach him about how important it is to at least set up a Google Calendar or something. But he has a calendar in his phone that he manually puts things in. But the problem with that is, if you don't have a calendar that syncs with your email or something like that, when someone sends you a calendar invite, it's not going to automatically add it to your calendar. Therefore, you're going to forget because you're not going to put it in there right away. You're not writing it down, and then you forget, and I have to reach out to you to remind you. And the last thing I want to do is have to remind an adult about an appointment that we verbally agreed on together that you forgot because you failed to plan.
Look, I'm so stressed just picturing that.
Yes. Yes. I mean, it's and I know it sounds like hard work, and I know that it sounds like a job, but it really isn't. Like, I promise you, like Nancy said, if you do it right then, if you add it to your calendar, carve out that time, I mean, shoot, set a day to plan. Like she said, my days are Sunday. I sit there and go through my planner, and then on Mondays, I'm writing it out. Like, I'm one of those, I need to see it and I need to write it down, because when I write, it stays in my mind better when I write it down. So although it's in my calendar, I still need to pull it up just to mentally tell myself, okay, this is what your day is going to look like today. Ooh, okay, your day is a little bit light today, but it's really heavy tomorrow. So be mentally prepared for that heavy day. Like tomorrow, I have an extremely heavy day, and I'm mentally prepared for it because why? Not only is it in my Google Calendar and my Outlook calendar for work, I also wrote it down so that I can see it and be like, okay, this is the type of day I'm going to have. And I promise, like, Nancy is not making this up. You hear me? She knows what she's talking about. So again, the information that she provided, I will provide it in the chat for you for easy access. And feel free to reach out to her. She's really, really sweet. If y'all think I'm sweet, like she said, it's like we're sisters from another mister and another mom. But at the end of the day, like, her personality is just as empathetic and warm as mine is. And I don't know if you can tell in her conversation, but she's really genuine about what she does and passionate about helping others, just like I am. Like, I do the coaching on the fitness side, and she does the coaching on the personal and entrepreneurship side. So trust and believe she can help you. She's going to help me too. Ain't that right, Ms. Nancy?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And thank you so much once again for coming on. And until next time, Chiquita Nicole Speaks is out.